So from the 7th of October this month, I am 21.34% up. Now, obviously, I've still got tomorrow to trade and the rest of today, potentially during New York, to really determine how my month ends. But obviously, I'm not going to go anywhere near to end this on the red month, obviously, right? So massively up this month. That's just on standard risk. But yeah, pretty much 21.34%. Since the last video I updated you guys, I think it was around 17.9 something percent, and that was from the 21st, so 9 days ago. Currently today is 30th of October, and as you can see, the changes, this is all the trades I've taken since then. Now, as you can see, there are a couple of, I took like 3 losses in a row, then had a nice win, and then a couple of losses in a row, then obviously on a 3 win streak again. So it's a little bit sporadic. Now, could I have achieved a lot more? I personally will say yes. Last week especially, I believe, let me just check the calendar, last week, so last week I didn't really trade much last week, to be honest, as you can see, right? So the week obviously runs from the 20th until the 24th, and as you can see, there's literally these 3 trades from the 21st. But for the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, and the 20th, there's quite clear opportunities, including losses as well, just being totally honest. But when I reviewed it, and obviously my students as well, they were massively up from last week because they had a great trading week last week. But I was just really busy, so I didn't really get time to spend so much on the charts. But either way, 21.34% up for the month so far as of today, right now at 12, as we head into New York session. I'm doing pretty good. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to just give you guys a recap of this trade and pretty much just jump into the kind of the details behind it, I guess. So I'll start off with EU. This was just simply, it's the first trade I'd taken. And I'll be honest, this was in courtesy of one of our students, FA. We was in the live call this morning. And pretty much he had called out this trade that EU was inside of an internal supply zone on the M15, and then I'd seen that on the M15. I kind of had this in the market, but he obviously said it. And then as you can see, he also called out that the M1 was shifting as well, so we all kind of had a little luck at this, and I ended up getting in off this slight pullback followed by this engulfing candle, right? And then my stops were above the previous range highs, so they're in a safe place, right? But in terms of the specifics, we had this high, we came into the previous M15 supply zone. I didn't mark it up, but I'll show you the M15 in a minute. And as you can see, we got a shift to the downside. We formed this new range low, broke structure here, formed new range low and high. And as you can see, I didn't wait for a pullback into this area, but I just thought, I don't know what it was, but I seen price come up here, partially ever so fill the imbalance is a little bit tiny, like I think like a fractal, well, probably like a half pip higher on my actual execution platform. And as you can see, right, we just pretty much engulfed and just sold off, right? Kind of chopped around a little bit, but during this bit of price action, so basically we host live calls every Tuesday and Thursday. So if you're using this call on today, you would have been able to catch this move with us, as we called it out. Everyone was there as well, and pretty much we just trade for a little while. Once we figured out that what we want to do for the day and trade and discuss analysis, etc., we pretty much just more so chill for the rest of the call, maybe discuss some trading here and there. But I'll go and put up a clip on the screen in a minute. We play this, we just play some games together, have some fun, because that's what it's all about, Like, we're serious when it comes to trading. We are pretty serious. I mean, there's probably, if FA, Josh, etc., and Errol and Jack are watching this right now, you're probably like, maybe not so serious, but we are so serious. We are very serious when it comes to trading. We make sure to get the trades out of the way first before obviously doing any of the fun stuff. But it's just like kind of a big friendship that we're forming, which is awesome to see. So we played some like free games on Discord, etc. Right? We had like a game of Wordle, like thing called Clunker Strike. It's just good fun, right? So I'll pop a little clip up on screen if I haven't already. Yeah, so these are what the trading calls consist of once we finish trading. Just hop on a bit of Clunker Strike with the boys, But yeah, as you can see, this is pretty much just slight pullback here. Seeing the momentum starting to shift to the downside, and as you can see, if you look at this bit of price action from here to here, if I just go ahead and draw it up, as you can see, it's a pretty one-sided narrative, and we took out some previous structural lows, okay? And not also that, when you look at the pullback as well, sorry, we only get a slight pullback. So this just looks like a pullback continuation. Okay, so that's what you get. The market moves impulse correction, impulse correction. Then as you can see on the second move, it was similar to the first move, and I thought, well, we got this new range high and low. And then I was only expecting a kind of a small pullback, as you can see. If it had pulled back deeper and then engulfed like up here, then yeah, I probably would have entered a little bit higher up. But because it engulfed here, that's simply where I got my entry, because at the end of the day, no engulfing or no reaction, no trade for me. Okay. And then I kind of just had a fixed target for a 2R, but on my execution platform, it just came to around 1.98. Obviously, don't get me wrong, when you include commissions, etc., it might be slightly a little bit less, but not significantly more or less, etc. But you know, for this trade, I was expecting prices to come and take out these lows. Could you target into these lows? Absolutely. Why didn't I then? Well, simply because I was, you know, I wouldn't say this right. I just target a fixed 2R. That's mostly what I do in my trades. Like all my trades, most of the majority are 2Rs. If I feel like holding on a little bit longer, like in this case, yeah, maybe I should have, but I'm not too fussed, to be honest, because I would have only squeezed out an extra 0.8. But to be honest, I'll take partials around 2R from planning on holding. But yeah, you know, it's very rare I'll take anything more than 2R. 2R seems to be the sweet spot for me. I won't explain why, but if you're in the mentorship, you'll understand that like 2Rs literally need to be studied, honestly, sometimes. But as for the M15 time frame, as you can see from here, I was initially going into the session with the short bias just because we had this previous bearish range from yesterday's price action during that huge sell-off last night. And then we came up into today's session, so pre-London, and as you can see, we've just mitigated the clear POI inside of the extreme range highs, right? Then obviously from there, we more so just internally had a little wick to the downside. It wasn't a clear break, but this is all internal structure. But if you understand supply chains, etc., if you're in the mentorship, you'll understand supply chains. So as you can see, we had a nice supply chain mitigation there, potentially forming. So obviously where the previous mitigations were happening from, right, where we had a reaction from and price moved from. So when price comes up to that same sort of rough area again, you can expect a reaction to the downside, right? It's pretty simple. And then as you can see, that's pretty much it. That's the kind of the zone that FA pointed out. I've seen the same zone. I thought, you know what, let's jump onto the M1 time frame, and that's exactly why I got in here. Okay, now as for the second position, I'll go ahead and show you the 4 hour as well on EU. So the 4 hour on EU, I believe a lot of people were looking to long, to be honest, but the 4 hour, as you can see, we had a bearish bias as well. We previously shifted bearish with range low, range high, clear PR mitigation. So all we had to do was wait for the M15 and the M1 to align to take the position and execute, right? Then obviously as for the GJ position, as you can see here, yes, the H4 is a little bit overextended, but it's one of them. As cliche as it sounds, the trend is your friend until it ends. So if I'm sitting here and be like, oh, well, we're looking pretty overextended on the H4, maybe we're going to get a pullback. Like, yeah, you will get the pullback, but when that pullback happens, you don't know. So the way I approach the charts is that I'm a reactionary based trader. So for example, I had this M15 high, M15 low marked up, and I was pretty much anticipating price to respect this POI, and which it obviously did. And then all I had to do was jump down to the M1 time frame as soon as we tap into my area of interest. If, however, the M1 didn't react and instead the M15 had closed below here, then sure, we can anticipate shorts and we're going to anticipate a H4 pullback. But because the M1 had a reaction, I decided to take the risk because, again, the trend is your friend until it ends. I took the risk and then I got into the position. And as you can see here on the M1 time frame, I took a different, well, we have two types of entry models when it comes to ZCFX. Now, just a quick disclaimer, guys. If you don't understand my entry models, don't worry, I'm not going to explain them in this video, but I do have a free trading course dropping on November 10th, so 10 days from today. There is a brand new free trading course dropping that's not been seen before. I've not publicly disclosed my exact strategy for free, but you can kind of understand the foundations regarding my markups, how I approach market structure to identify the highs using the 3 candle rule, etc., how I approach certain situations, my 2 entry models, and then obviously the academy that's launching 7 days after that on November 17th is where all the real source will be. So guys, free course November 10th. Academy launch 17th of November. Prices will be rising as well, so if you want to get in earlier, I'd recommend getting in now. I'm not going to publicly just mention that on social media, but obviously if you're watching this video, get in now because prices will be doubling pretty much. Just because the value is being added, the way I teach has changed a little bit. We're adding new stuff, we're adding new channels, we're adding more calls. There's a lot more value being driven behind it. The daily trade ideas are going to be ramped up a little bit more as well. So every single day, you already get this, but every single day you receive analysis from me, and pretty much I discuss my M15 POIs, sometimes show you the M1 as well if it's already playing out at the time of sending the analysis out. Then obviously twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, you'll get access to a live call in which you can join. You can ask questions to help with your markups, any confusions you may have, and just generally discuss and just have a chat with other people of the group and students, right? Then obviously, as well as that, you get access to me so I can give you feedback on your trades, just to really help you, spot where you're potentially not necessarily going wrong, but what you necessarily could change, more so help guide you in the right direction rather than being lost. So if you take a loss on the trade, I can sit there and review it. Yes, I'm not going to make excuses, so don't worry. I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, you did this, but you're wrong, or you did that wrong. I'm not like other mentors. I would tell you, I'll call you out on your trade if it's not a very good setup, but I'd also sit there and tell you that it was a valid setup and it was just an unfortunate loss. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, essentially, right? But as you can see for this trade, this is pretty much a BRC entry. Like I said, November 10th, check out the free course and come back to this video and then you'll understand BRC entry a lot more clearer. But as you can see, we had this range high, we shifted bullish to the upside, okay? A lot of people will be looking at this as, a supply mitigation for price to continue to short. We view market structure we view it very differently. So if you don't understand market structure, or maybe you want to relearn market structure the way you do it, rather than trying to catch traditional highs, traditional lows all the way down here, then trying to trade it from here, because you're missing out on all these little small movements from here to here, from here to here. So, if you don't want to understand it a little bit more in depth, make sure you check out my 3 candle rule, because it will make a lot more sense, okay? And as you can see from here, we broke structure to the upside, another high, another low, stops below the low, entry on the BRC there. Unfortunately, I just kind of executed right at the top, which is what it is. And as you can see, I went on to hit TP, and my 2R was around the M15 highs. Everything was aligning, the stars was aligning, etc. We even provided a CP entry as well for a potentially bigger risk reward. So the opportunities are there, guys, with the system that we trade. It's some days you'll see me taking many trades, some days you'll see me taking no trades. It's just really one of them. But the way I like to approach the charts is that I don't want to be working around the charts. I want the charts kind of work around me, if that makes sense. Okay, so like if I come on the charts, I don't want to, it's one of them. If I see a setup in front of me when it's playing out, when I come to the charts, whatever time it may be, yes, we can have our kill zones, but to be honest, lately I haven't really been trading inside of the kill zones. Yeah, but I won't give too much info on here. But guys, everything will pretty much just be in the free course, the foundations, etc. And obviously the academy, if you really want to learn how to scale your into a consistently profitable trader in a very quick and short amount of time, then I'd recommend you check that out, okay? Because people are getting payouts, people are passing prop firms on a daily basis, and there's no BS. These are real humans. A lot of people, your so-called mentors, yeah, they might be seeming funny on the camera, etc., and they quite seem addictive, their personality-wise, but they have fake people in their Discord. They're paying people in their Discord to show these bullshit, I guess you could say, achievements that are just edited, right? It's easily done, okay? But these people that put it in my chat, they join the calls. They're real humans. They speak to them. You can go back to their previous chats. You can watch their journey, in terms of struggling to now become a consistently profitable trader. It's truly an amazing community, guys. So make sure you get stuck in and get involved, because the knowledge that we're about to launch come academy time, it's going to be insane, next to none. But I'm not going to keep going on. This trade was an internal BRC. You already seen the 4 hour. Yes, it's overextended, but again, trend is your friend until it ends. As cliche as it sounds, it's very bloody true. But guys, thank you so much for watching. I am up 21.34% as of right now, 12/31, October 30th.